So you've got this inquisitive fascination and kind of comfort with embracing technology and trying new things. How did you find getting your head around using Loveable? Like, where did that start? Did you start with something else before, and how was all that sort of process?
So there's kind of a story behind this. If you have a moment, I can tell you a little bit more about the story. But I was in part of a group called Beta here in the Twin Cities. And that group is actually for entrepreneurs who are trying to make ed tech or not ed tech, but just tech programs and businesses. Back in January, when I took over createMPLS, the first day was the day of the inauguration. That day was an executive order written, and 70% of our budget got crossed off that very day. And so we had to think quickly on our feet and like, how are we going to bring in more money to keep going and be able to serve schools and not be reliant on grants? So we came up with the idea of creating these apps. And so I joined this beta group because I have no education on business at all. I'm an engineer by trade, and I've been teaching for 20 years, so things have changed. I don't know how to run a business. So basically, and be an entrepreneur. Part of that program, we had to make an MVP, a most viable product. And I had asked somebody to create it that has a business in this, and they said they would. And 2 days before it was due, they hadn't made it yet. So thus comes Loveable. And this is back in May. Loveable had only been around for a few months by then, right? So I got in there. I made a viable product in 2 days. Nice. We were in showcase, and we had to show our apps and the things that we were making to the community, and we won. We won that competition. And so it was out of desperation, partially, but also if we failed, oh well. I'm not afraid of failure. I've failed so many times in my life. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's a new learning experience. Let's go on. So that is what got me into Loveable. And then since then, Loveable is like twice as good as it was back in May. I mean, there's so many more things they keep adding to it. And so it's been really fun following along with what they're doing.
Amazing. And did it cost you a lot to get to your MVP?
It cost me about $400. Don't tell my husband. He's going to kill me.
Sorry.
He'll listen to this and he's going to, oh well. But it cost me about $400. But that being said, if I had done it the traditional way, it would have cost $100,000.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I mean, we work with a lot of founders who have spent, $100,000 easily on building an application, which might not work, So I think $400 is much better price for the MVP. Right. But I have a question for you. Like, when you were working on this, obviously you said in 2 days you created it. What did you kind of learn about yourself whilst working with Loveable?
I learned that Loveable is addictive. And I mean that in a good way. You put in what you're wanting it to do, and then it sits there and chugs along. And then I work on something else for a while. I come back, and it's like opening a gift. And because I say that because it will actually take what you said to do, but then make it that much better. And I am just like, every time it does it, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Wow. That's exciting. And I'm just always so excited, and I'm finding out what it can do. I push the limits all the time with it. I've taken it beyond what it can do a few times. But it's just learning what you can get out of it. And because I have the engineering background too, and I taught computer science, I kind of get what it's doing, the front side, also the back side. So the full stack part of it, I kind of understand already. So that was helpful to me.
Yeah.
So if you're going into it with no technical experience, you can make something pretty good, like at a shallow point, like make a new website. It does that perfectly, right? But to get into a really deep app that has 58 pages of architecture to it, that is going to take somebody that understands what a database does, what the fronts, what edge functions do, all that sort of thing. You kind of have to understand how that works in the architecture to really be able to get into that technical debt that can happen and get rid of all that business. So it helps to have some background.
So you're saying that sort of technical level of understanding that you had really gave you an edge when it came down to your prompting?
Yes.
Yeah. What would you say, like, if you had to give someone advice who was, say, like, less, like, maybe non-technical, what would your like best advice for strategy in approaching prompting?
That's a good question. First of all, two things. To understand how a computer program works, you may want to learn how to just do something as simple as Scratch, which is an educational program that you can learn, and it's block-based coding where you can move things around. To understand if-then circular apps, circular thinking in terms of you could get caught in this infinity loop, how to get out of that, make sure that's not happening. Just to learn some basic programming skills so you know what Loveable is trying to do. And then the other thing that I would do is use Notebook LM. You need to understand what is the big picture that you're trying to make and narrow it down to one or two things. Don't make it too big. And do all the research on it. What are the pain points? What are people dealing with in terms of what you're trying to create? Who is it for? And do all that research on Notebook LM. Get that all in the background. It's going to take you probably at least 6 or 7 hours to get all that information. And then use all that information to help you make a good prompt. And I use either GPT or Claude or whatever the mood of the day is, and make a prompt from there, because I need all this background information to make sure that's all included. And it's not just a paragraph that you would think. It's sometimes a full page prompt or several prompts that you take time to put them in order, so that it makes the product without making a bunch of garbage in the background.